Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Buckeye Roast. Here with my guy QP Ski. Q, how you feeling other than tired? Because I know your ass is dragging at 4 a.m.
Tired as hell. I fell asleep on my couch. Didn't make it to so it's my new comfy bed, but it's all good. We in here, not too bad. Undefeated, so I cannot complain.
Before we get into the Buckeyes, man, I need an update on Arizona, man. How's the city been treating you? How's work going? I know the people want to know because this has been a month and a half long process of just getting ready to make the move, getting settled in down there, finally starting back at work. So, how has that process been?
I mean it's cool. I'm out here. I done moved. The city is fine. I haven't had a chance to really be out and about too much,
I
but
know that's killing you because they don't call you City Boy Quentin for
they,
nothing. The streets
they
is
actually
calling.
do. Absolutely for nothing. But I know the fair is in town, so I might check that out this weekend. And go. They actually have a big ass fair. I was here last year for it, so that joint is huge. So might get out there, and then meet and greet a little bit. Might make some friends or something. So. It's going well. I'll keep y'all updated, but I haven't quite got a hang of it yet. We still in progress.
Well, I'm glad you're getting settled in. I feel bad for the 4 a.m. wake up call, but the Buckeyes calls. We're gonna jump right into it. A little housekeeping before we get into things. Shout out to our guy Charles Green for the first chat this morning. So big shout out to him. You guys know the rules. First chat gets a shout out every day. We got Dog's Film Room dropping tomorrow. I know he's going to be recording that tonight. We have the Fans Edge tonight at 7:30, and college football pregame show on Saturday. And I don't know, are we doing Buckeye BS on Sunday? I don't know. It's a bye week, man. We need some time off, man. It's been good. We've been going since pre-camp, so I'm not sure if we're doing a show on Sunday, but lots of stuff going on. And me and Christian will be on Bleacher Report tomorrow. Tons of content, even if we do take a day off. But let's jump right into this. We're going to be grading the Buckeyes through 4 games. I know it's been a little bit up and down. We went through a quarterback battle. We have a top 10 win on the road. So we're going to just jump right into it and start grading how we think the Buckeyes have looked through 4 weeks. So I want to start with the quarterback battle.
Okay.
We had a lot of questions, a lot of heated debates about it, questions of Ryan Day's handling, questions of Ryan Day's choice. We're through 4 games. We haven't dropped any games, haven't had any, outside of the Notre Dame game, like really scares on the schedule. So how would you grade Ryan Day's handling of the quarterback's situation with revisionist history now that we're through 4 games? Kyle is settled in as the guy, and we are still 4-0 coming out of Notre Dame.
Wow, that's a good question. From the point of having two guys compete and actually having a battle going into the season, maybe like a C plus. But the way I thought he should have handled it, he actually, I don't know, maybe he watched the show and was like, all right, maybe I should do what Q says, because that what I was trying to do completely did not happen. I guess I would give him like a B minus. I mean, I wanted him to pick a guy and put confidence in him and kind of just roll from there. He really didn't until like week 3, even though he only let one guy really compete. So I would go B minus. Got to see a little bit of what Dev can do, but he didn't give him too much, of an opportunity. So, but he's giving Kyle the lion's share, and then got him ready for the Notre Dame game, which he had a okay game. It was up and down, so still work to be done. But I mean, he got a guy and picked him and got him to win the Notre Dame game, so that's the most important thing. So I'll give him probably a B minus right now. Is where I would go.
I still give him. I feel like I gave him an F or a D last time we talked about this topic and said I hated the way he handled it. But looking at the way that it played out, I'd probably give him closer to a C plus. I feel like us getting through these first 4 games was the most important thing. I think he was able to get through Notre Dame. And one of the things that, like we talked about during the Notre Dame game, it seemed like the reason why Devin didn't play that much is because he wanted to get through that game without showing a lot. And I feel like he felt like he was going to have to open the playbook if it were to get close. If Devin were to go out there and stall the offense, or if it would stall anymore under Kyle, I think Ryan had a confidence in the game plan that he had that Kyle would be able to get it done and execute without showing too much. But the goal was always to get through 4-0. And that was my biggest fear of picking a quarterback and losing at Notre Dame and then having to open that whole can of worms again and potentially have a quarterback battle 5-6 weeks into the season. And we're still talking about who's the quarterback at Ohio State. I'm glad that we have it settled, and I'd give it a C+. It was a little messier than we anticipated. I would have loved to see this end in camp or after the first couple weeks. And if we were going to have it drag out, I would have liked to see both quarterbacks play more. But in the end, we accomplished the goal that we were looking for, and that was to beat Notre Dame and get to this bye week 4-0. I want to ask you, do you think Ryan Day made the right call in the quarterback that he chose?
I have no clue. I don't. It's like it was like you go for ice cream and they're like, yeah, we have chocolate and vanilla, but our vanilla machine is out, so we don't get chocolate. It's like, I don't know. I mean, we didn't really get.
Where are you getting ice cream from? McDonald's with the broken ice cream machine, bro?
Broken ice. I mean, he really didn't give us a chance in hell to really see. I mean, Devin, it's like the last guy walked away. A guy walked away with vanilla, and you were like, but he had vanilla. Well, our machine just broke. And we don't really want vanilla. Like, we have it, but you don't really want that. You want the chocolate, and that's all we got. So here you go. So yeah, we didn't really get to see what Devin can do. I mean, a little bit in our third game where you saw him make a throw where you're like, okay, like, it's got some juice here, but he never really got an opportunity, and Kyle did. So we'll have to believe that Kyle is the best guy going forward, and that's what we want. Like I said, it was very weird. He was like, well, Devin led the battle until, prep week, and then, he didn't. And it was like, what? Like, okay, so all the competition times, Devin was the guy, and then when it comes down to prep and get ready for the game, Kyle's the guy. How did he take the lead? I don't know. But yeah, I just have to have faith and trust going forward. And so far, I mean, you've seen what Kyle can do. He definitely has the talent. He has the arm. Just needs to kind of calm down, be consistent, and make good decisions. I mean, we see him throw dots, and then we also see him throwing the triple teams. You're like, wait, don't do that. So yeah, gotta have faith going forward. But at least I feel confident that we have a guy who can get it done. Will he get it done? I have no clue. No clue in hell. As much as we went in there and got the win, we very almost went in there and got the loss at Notre Dame. So he still has work to be done, but you got to trust in Ryan Day. So,
did you have that trust going into the Notre Dame game? Because my biggest concern going into that game was I had tons of confidence in the defense, and I said the only way we lose this game is if Kyle were to throw it away. And I meant by throwing it to the other team, fumbling, any type of turnover or complete failure at the quarterback position, I felt was going to be the demise if they were going to lose that game. What was your confidence level after Ryan Day made the decision and said, this is the guy that I'm going with into Notre Dame? Did you have the confidence that Kyle was going to be able to come in and get it done?
I mean, no. I mean, it's one thing in saying, like, go in and don't screw it up, because that's a completely different thing than go in and, like, we need you to win the game. I didn't know if Kyle could go in and absolutely win the game. I mean, if the defense had held it down and Notre Dame didn't score at all, which only scored, 14 points, so not a lot at all, then that's more so confidence in the defense than confidence in Kyle. So I would say, no, I didn't know what I was going to get, but he proved to me, like, at the end of the game, you got to drive to go. He can go get it done. So that was new confidence that I didn't have coming into the game, and it feels good to have knowing, the game's on the line and the offense has to do it. Kyle has the possibility to do it.
Absolutely. I had concerns there, but going to see him come in and be able to get it done. What?
The last comment. So he's been
Read it.
consistent, but not consistently good. Oh man, college football stop, man. That's too funny.
Yeah, that's our boy Terry. Appreciate him in the chat.
It's Terry.
Yeah.
No, I did not know. It's good, Terry.
So yeah, I think Kyle was able to get it done. No, I mean we saw it. He had a great last drive, and I think we're in good hands going forward overall. Um, I I think that Kyle has performed and did what Ryan Day asked him to do, and ultimately the final goal was to get through these first 4 weeks undefeated, and that's exactly what we did. So I want to jump into these first 4 games and grade these games as a whole. And I want to start with the Indiana game. How would you grade Ohio State's performance against the Hoosiers week 1? I know that's your favorite team. No disrespect to Indiana, but how would you grade your Buckeyes in week 1?
Um, Defense, I would have gave them like a B plus. I mean, you only give up 3 points on a field goal. They were I think the only
They
good.
doinked it in too. They almost didn't
Yeah,
even get that field goal.
the only bad play from the defense was really from the linebacking core. I didn't think they were good at all in that game. But offensively, I mean, I'll probably give them a C. I didn't think they were great. Dar didn't touch the balls for like half the game, and then finally got him involved somewhat. So offense probably give him a C. I thought the running backs looked really good. The defense, I probably give him a B plus.
Yeah, I give them probably a C plus as a whole for that game, just because we saw the offense struggle with, I think it was 36 yards between Marvin and Mecca that
Yeah,
entire game, which was really rough. No passing touchdowns, which was like the talk of the town for the entire week. But
yeah,
like you said, the defense only gave up 3 points. And one of the things that I said coming out of that game, it's like, man, I want to nitpick this defense, and there's things that we could see them do better. But overall, you can't complain about a 3 point performance on the road the opening week of the season. So I think that was a C plus week 1, and then we go into Youngstown State the following week. How would you grade that performance in week 2?
Youngstown State, I would probably again with the defense, probably a B, probably again a B plus. I thought they were really good. For the most part, only gave up 7 points, so not too bad. And we knew Youngstown State was going to open it up more than a little more than Indiana, because Indiana just ran a triple option and didn't try at all. Youngstown State tried and was successful very early in the game, but after that, defense again shut it down, and the offense showed a little more. So you give them a C plus. I mean, it is Youngstown State. I can't give them a crazy grade for that, but they scored a little more, and it looked like they could score touchdowns actually. So I'd probably give them a C plus for that game.
Yeah, I actually give him a B minus. We saw Marv finally get involved in the action. We saw Kyle start to hit some passes. So like that was a sigh of relief from Buckeye Nation. We saw Kyle McCord actually throw a touchdown pass. We did give up one touchdown in that game, but it was all because a player was on the field that we've been saying since the offseason shouldn't be getting on the field, and we saw exactly why. Um, I mean, we do not give up a touchdown in that game if he doesn't come in and get toasted like that. It was a third down conversion. If we get a stop there, likely only give up 3 points in that game. I thought it was overall, outside of that one play, a solid performance. You would have liked to see a little bit of more points scored in that game, but overall, I think we saw steps in the right direction, and overall a B minus in that game.
We win as a team, we lose as a team. It all
So
counts.
let's move on to let's move on to the Western Kentucky game. How would you grade the Buckeyes in that performance?
Well, that was the game where the Ohio State offense finally looked like Ohio State. Um, Probably give them a B plus. I mean, airing out, everybody looked good. I mean, it is Western Kentucky, but offensively and defensively, that's where the team looked very solid. So I would say probably a B plus all around. Everybody came to play, and Western Kentucky, who we heard was going to really challenge the jaw of the secondary, didn't do so very much. So that right there, and Kyle McCord finally started to be like, all right, looks like Kyle McCord looks like the guy we recruited. So I'll give it a B plus.
I give the I guess I'm a little bit more generous with my grading. I give them an A minus. We saw everything that we had complained about to that point happen. We saw Jordan Hancock start getting involved more in the nickel. We saw a lot of the backs get involved in that game. Kyle was slinging it. We got to see Devin play in mop up duty, and it feels like a game that we haven't had in a long time as far as the Buckeyes going in there, handling business, executing a game plan early, and then letting the backups play. And the fact, like, it's been so long since we have had these blowout games where it's like we're not chasing a Heisman for someone, we're not trying to pad stats, and we're getting development reps for our players. And I felt like we did everything that we needed to do. We went out there and got Kyle confidence. We went out there through touchdowns. We got the backs reps. We were able to get Devin in there and get him meaningful reps. I mean, he only threw the ball, I think, 4 times, and I think he might have thrown a pick that game. But overall, the Buckeyes did what they needed to do, and I feel like we've had games in the past. Like I thought Indiana and YSU were going to be that 60-point victories where we're going to see backups play. We're going to be able to rotate the quarterbacks and evaluate our quarterbacks and things like that. And we haven't really got those opportunities. And I felt like Western Kentucky, a game that people said might be closer than we think, one of the most dynamic passing offenses in college football in the past couple of years. We saw the stats in comparison to Ohio State during that game, how much success they've had in the air. So to see our defense get tested like that and hold them to 10 points while our offense was able to run it up and we were able to get rotations in there, I would have to go with an A minus because I felt like when we said what we wanted to see going into this game, we were able to see all of those things, and the Buckeyes look like the Buckeyes of old in that game.
Yeah, actually, I almost forgot CJ Hicks was in the end of the third quarter, so I may give it an A just for that. Finally, did get to see how he bumped a little bit, give some extra credit.
Exactly. And then that brings us to Saturday's game. The Buckeyes take on Notre Dame in South Bend. They get the win on the last play of the game, closer than I expected, but the Buckeyes do escape with a victory. How would you grade the Buckeyes in their Week 4 matchup against Notre Dame?
Oh yeah, there we go. Can you see me, Ron?
Yes, sir. Could see you the whole time.
Okay. All right, cool. I was making sure my thing didn't. Notre Dame game, B plus for the defense, almost an A. I would say Notre Dame's offensive line was really, really good, but they also didn't have the weapons on the outside to really ever scare us. So there's a balance there. That running game was really good from them. I mean, good thing they didn't have the wide receivers. We might have really been in trouble if we had to challenge the secondary a little bit. But just enough of that, I give that defense a B plus. I mean, big time game. You're on the road. 14 points is really almost as much as you can ask for from a defense to give you a chance to win the game. You just got to score, 15, which is not a lot. Touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So I give the defensive a B plus right there. The offense, that's a good question. Maybe a C plus. I don't know if I want to go
Really?
a B. It wasn't quite a B performance from the offense. It was very up and down. Some good, some bad. I mean, those fourth and ones where you can't get them does not look good at all. So I would probably go a C plus from the offense. You get the victory at the end of the day. You score a game winning touchdown, but it was rough a lot there. So I probably go a C plus from the offense and B plus from the defense.
I'd go with a B plus for the team all around. I thought that was a great defensive performance. Sam Hartman, probably one of the better quarterbacks that we'll see all year, and the Buckeyes were able to hold him in check. He didn't really go too crazy, and to hold a team like that, a top 10 team, to 14 points, I think is huge. We saw something that we really wanted to see out of the running back room, and that's them using these backs more situationally and putting them in the best positions to perform. And while we did still see that goofy pitch to the boundary, we did still see them continue with Trey and allow him to have that opportunity to have that long run. But then in the final moments, it wasn't any seniority. They weren't worried about stars. They put the kid from Akron in and let Chip train him go win the game. And we always talk about that Chip's the back that doesn't go down in the backfield. He's the least likely to go down at the first contact. It can make a guy miss. So to have the foresight to get him on the field and hand him the ball for that final play, I thought that was a huge step from the offense. One of the things that we talked about with Kyle McCord is not turning the ball over. And I thought that was one of the key things for whoever won this quarterback battle coming into the year. Is we understand you're a young quarterback and you're early in your career, but this defense is good enough that as long as you don't turn the ball over, you should be able to keep this team in games with the weapons that you have around you. So if you were able to run the ball with success and not have turnovers, we can deal with the occasional turnover on downs or a 3 and out here and there. But if we're still winning the field position battle and not turning the ball over, I think that this team is able to stay in games. And that's exactly what Kyle was able to do. And he delivered on the final drive. So it's hard to be overcritical of someone in a top 10 matchup because, again, that's the spoiledness of being a Buckeye fan of like you win a top 10 game and it's like, man, I don't like the way that looked. And it's like at some point, like, you know what I mean? Like, would you complain in the national championship if we don't win by 50? Like, at some point, you have to have the slightest bit of respect for some of the teams that you're going against. So, hats off to Notre Dame. I think that's one of the better defenses that they've had in a long time, and the offense answered the call and was able to get it done there at the end. So it's hard to be overcritical of this team after the Notre Dame game. I give them a B plus. Could we have seen a little bit more offensive output? Yes, but I mean our starting quarterback's only on his 5th start, and there's definitely growing pains that he's going to continue to have to work through. I think these next 2 weeks after that win and just the overall experience of having that victory against a top 10 team, being the man on campus, being the starting quarterback, knowing that this is your team, having 2 weeks of practice going into Maryland, I believe, is the next game. So just having those 2 weeks of practice and being able to just settle in, absorb the moment, and then refocus next week, I think this is coming at the perfect time as far as a bye week. But overall, I think a B plus for the Buckeyes against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, no turnovers. Kyle tried, but Notre Dame didn't take the bait. So he took care of the ball somewhat. I mean, he does have the I guess the gene to just say F it and just throw into a double team or every now and then. But hey man, luck is on his side, and better be lucky than good. That's the most important thing.
So we got 50 people in here right now, only 20 likes. I need you guys to smash that like button. It helps us a ton in the algorithm. We really appreciate that. So if you could go ahead and smash that like button, that would be a huge help to us. So we've graded the Buckeyes' performances through the first 4 games, Ryan Day's handling of the quarterback battle. So I now want to go through the depth chart and grade these position rooms through 4 weeks and just get your thoughts overall on the performances from each position. And we've talked about it a lot already on this episode. So let's just jump right in with quarterback. How would you grade Kyle McCord through the first 4 weeks?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. I want to give him a lot of credit for the Notre Dame game and going in and get the win. But also it's been a very inconsistent and sometimes just makes you think like, dang, is this the Ohio State offense? It hasn't quite, and it's not all Kyle's fault. Not putting it all on him. But I would say a very C plus ish performance from the quarterbacks from what we're used to seeing. And unfortunately, that's the legacy you walk in. Play at Ohio State. The last 3 guys have been really, really good, all first round picks. So I would say C plus-ish. I would say much room to improve, but you get the wins, and that's what's most important. And you've shown the potential to grow and get better. And I've seen that both from Kyle and Devin. I mean, we've seen Devin make a couple throws in that Western no, yeah, Western Kentucky game. So ability to get there. So still got work to do, but I would give it a C plus right now.
I'm going to be a little bit more positive here and give you a B minus for Kyle McCord. I think he's done a really good job of protecting the ball. We've seen a fumble and one interception. Not terrible through 4 games. No plays that I feel like that have completely taken us out of the game. And the one thing that I feel like we've seen from Kyle that makes me give him a B minus instead of the C area is the progression each week. At no point do I feel like I've watched Kyle McCord and been like, this guy has regressed from the previous week or he has stagnated from the previous week. I think that Kyle has taken steps forward and shown us new things each week, even with the poise that, like, we definitely saw struggles against Notre Dame, but the poise that he was able to have in the final drive of the Notre Dame game, I feel like that's something that he showed us that we hadn't seen all season. I feel like every
Yeah.
time the games got close or there was any bit of adversity, we would see the group chats light up with he's getting tight, oh, he's scared, things like that. But being able to put a moment like that under your belt and have the confidence after something like that, I feel like that's progression that we see. We've needed to see from him, and the fact that he's shown each week that he can get better and learn from his mistakes, I think that is something that he should be rewarded for. And he beat a top 10 team. He started the year on the road in conference. He beat a top 10 team on the road. There's only 2 teams um, in the country with ranked wins on the road. It's Kyle McCord in the Ohio State Buckeyes and Quinn Ewers, former Buckeye, with the Texas Longhorns. So to see him be able to go on the road and do something that we really haven't seen anyone do in college football, I can't be overly critical and give him a C. So I'm going to go with a B minus.
Solid score. We have what the running backs next.
Absolutely. So we got the running backs next, and you know how I feel. I'm going to apply to be Tony Alford's agent because I've been pounding the table to get this man a raise all week. So you know already that I'm going to give the running backs an A, but I want to know what you think.
Um, I, I probably wouldn't quite give them an A. I mean, they haven't been like just taking over college football, dominant. But everybody's shown, or Tony Alford has put the room in a position where everybody can really show what they do. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous at the way Notre Dame used their backs with the heavy rotation, just because I know how deep this room is and that all these guys can play. But I think he's put it in good position here. I mean, you finally seeing Trey, the last couple of weeks really break out and show what we thought he could be. Hopefully he's consistent with that. I mean, Chip has come in. He utilized him very well in both a fullback and running back role and got him a game-winning touchdown. I still would like to see Mayan more than I seen him last game. I'm like, okay, he still has a little more versatility than just on the goal line or just 4th and 1. I mean, we saw what Mayan did last year. He's a really good back, and I know Evans coming back from an injury still, so it's like got a little ways to go. But I still would love to see what Dallin can do, and hopefully he would factor into games more than he has. We haven't seen him really at all. So unless he's hurt or something,
Or they're
would love
trying to redshirt him. You have 3 backs
to.
ahead of him, and you have a dynamic back like him who proved. Me and Chris Drew had this conversation the other
Yeah.
day, and it feels like we're watching Dallin have his years in reverse. Last year was supposed to be Dallin's redshirt year where he really just settled in. But because of the injuries, he was forced into action and was able to show what he was able to do and have 3 100-yard rushing games as a true freshman. And then this year, it seems like he's having the redshirt year that he should have had as a freshman. It seems like they were in reverse. You would have thought that we would see Dallin start to have his presence be noticed now as a sophomore, but that room is so loaded. And last year it was so depleted with injuries, we had to see him step up. So it's looking like last year Dallin had his sophomore year, and this year he's having a freshman type of redshirt year just because of the health and talent ahead of him. And I think he's still going to be on path to be a great back with the Buckeyes.
Um, I mean, yeah, I guess, but it is Ohio State, man. We shouldn't be redshirting. Like we just let guys
What do
roll
you
up besides
mean?
the offensive line. Let
You
guys
have
roll
the
up there
number
and,
one. You have a
and,
junior
and
who was the
play. And
number
once
one back in his recruiting
you've
class.
opened that jar.
Yeah, but what? Why would you play it back when you have the number one back in his recruiting class as your starting running back? You have Chip, who's potentially outplayed him thus far. And then you have Mayan, who's been the change of pace, short yardage back, and been the number two for the past 2 years. So I just don't see why you would, especially for a kid that's probably not going to contribute a ton or be required to contribute a ton. Why would you take a year of eligibility if he's able to save that if the room stays healthy?
I mean, you
Are
would
you on delay
believe
or just
with
not
two
talking?
more years after this year. No, no, no. It's my thing is inconsistent.
I was
I'll
about to
say
say, like,
that's why
I'm
I asked you if
sitting
you could see
here
me
like,
before.
no, I didn't. It feels like we're talking through a can and a piece of string, bro. I'm just sitting here like, am I fucking talking to myself or what?
Say no, no. You're making such good points that I'm just in awe.
Are you gonna make
Like,
a
oh,
point yourself?
but I'll say, yeah. Give me 1 second. Hold it down for a second with the running backs. I'll refresh and come back.
Yeah, this man Q
Yeah, yeah.
is
Give me 1 second.
this man Q is in the matrix right now. We're gonna move on to wide receiver, and I'm going to start off by giving the Actually, no, we're gonna go to tight end. That's tight ends next on the list. I'm gonna give them a B because we've seen Cade deliver in moments, and like it's so hard to be critical of Cade, and it's just like I don't know. I see mock drafts with Cade in the first round, and it's like maybe I just don't know how to evaluate tight ends, or I'm not watching enough tight ends, or I'm too critical. The NFL scouts seem to love Cade Stover. We've seen his run block grades dip at times, but then we also see highlights of him almost blowing out our guard's knee by chipping DNs completely into the turf. So I think Cade has contributed in the past game. We haven't seen those killer drops this year. G Scott has really developed his pass or his blocking game, and then we already know what he can do in the pass game. So I have to give a B to the tight ends because I think Cade has done what has been asked of him for the most part. He's had some struggles blocking, but that seems to be improving. We've seen G go out there and do everything that we've asked of him. So it's hard to be critical of the tight ends. I would love to see some more dynamic tight ends in the future, and I'm excited to see what we're going to get to see out of Jelani Thurman in the future. I feel like he's really going to evolve what this tight end position can be at Ohio State, but I think Cade is taking it to the next level. We talk about how when we had Ruck, we never threw him the ball. I think the record was 28 catches for a tight end at Ohio State, and they said they were going to break it with Ruck, and they didn't. But it seems like they're chasing it with Cade, and he's answering the bell. He's done what he's needed to do as far as a blocker. I see Terry saying G almost cost on the last play, false start, and missed his block. I'm not sure if I've seen that. I'll have to go back and rewatch it, but I did see Cade drive his man into the back of the end zone on that final play. So overall, I really can't complain about the tight ends. I feel like they're getting the job done and doing what they need to do. We're on to the offensive line. I don't know where Q is, but as far as there he is. You want to give your You want to give your thoughts on tight end before we move to the offensive line?
I miss wide receiver.
We
I
didn't
would
do
give
wide receiver yet.
Yeah, I would give him a grade. I give him a B minus. Probably a B minus so far in the year. Not quite what I expected yet. Would love to see a rotation. Still waiting on that time where we actually rotate receivers, but not bad at all. I've had breakout games, and that games were left a little more to be desired. So I go B minus
For tight ends.
Tight ends. I mean, your boy K Stover continuing to hold it down, religiously. Seen a little bit of G Scott, so haven't seen Joe Royer yet, but I have to give him. I give him a B plus. I give him a B plus. I think they've been very good in the season so far.
Yeah, so I think we got a little ahead because while you were off screen, we didn't do tight ends, but you did just give your grade for tight ends. So we'll circle back to that. But I want to get to the O line. The offensive line, I feel like it's been up and down, but they have got the job done so far. I mean, we haven't seen Kyle get his head taken off. So what are your thoughts on this offensive line so far? You know what my frustrations are, but I want to hear from you first.
Well, seeing that they've been so clean with no false start penalties, you gotta give them an A plus plus. Oh man, yeah, that's a good question because that last game, I'm feeling really good about the offensive line. I didn't know before the Notre Dame game, but they came in, they pass blocked extremely well, run blocking, still got some work to do there. Um, so far, I'll give him a B. I'll give him a B. That last game really has me on a high, where the offensive line is at. Even though in the first couple of games it looked like up, we got fear here. But I will give them the benefit of doubt, like you have all show from the last game, from the Notre Dame game. If they can keep that going forward, I will be very happy. So I will give them a B. Only one penalty, only one sack given up. Run block needs some work.
That's cap. There was no, there's
They got
absolutely
like
no
only
way there
got
was
sacked
only
once last
there
game.
was only one there's no way there was only one penalty on the offensive line last week.
Oh, there was two, wasn't there? There was two.
Yes.
There was two.
There was the
Ah,
Josh
that
Pryor.
one does not count. That one
Yes,
doesn't.
it does. Anyone who watches that play and says, "Oh, that wasn't a penalty. That wasn't a pancake block." Bro dove with his head first onto the guy. It wasn't like he belly flopped on him or finished. Bro put his helmet on dude's face and then laid into him. That was a ridiculous play. I mean, you guys call finishing a block. I wasn't surprised by it. Everybody's like, that was a ridiculous penalty. I'm like, no, that was a ridiculous penalty to take. Like, what are we doing here?
That's just football, man. See
I
all the time, man. You gotta finish
I've
your
never had
blocks.
my hand in the dirt, so I must not get it.
Gotta ask Mike from his youth days.
Yeah, man. I give the offensive line a C. I feel like the penalties are infuriating. I feel like they have all of the physical talent to do what they need to do, and I feel like they're definitely going to get there, but they still have a ways to go. A lot of undisciplined penalties. I would like to see them get rid of these false starts. I'd like to see them get rid of the hands to the faces, the unnecessary roughness. It just seems like there's a lot of discipline issues on this offensive line. A lot of the issues that they had early on were alignment issues and not being able to get set. So I think as Carson Hinsman grows at the center and he's able to identify pressures better, I just don't know. What do you do with a guy that leads the nation in penalties? How do you
Okay.
coach that out of him?
Oh, that's over the last 2 years, though. This is 2022, so that's counting
And
last
he's
year.
still getting penalties every game. So again, I ask you, how do you coach that out of someone? Like, what level of discipline do you have to instill? A level of fear? Do you have to just drill it in their head? How do you remove that lack of discipline from the offensive line?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, if it's only one, every other game or something like that, I could accept it. Maybe, the noise at Notre Dame, he came in and he was like, I'm not getting no penalties today. And the noise got to him. Maybe it was the physical play of their defensive line. I don't know. But I can do it one every couple games. It happens. We ain't got nobody else to play left tackle. So have to make it work. So I don't know, man. It's just mental. I mean, Isaiah Prince is a Hall of Famer for his attributes of false starts to the team. So he ain't Isaiah Prince. So I can deal with it.
Yeah, man, I would just like to see that get cleaned up. I feel like this offensive line has the potential to become at least I don't know if I'd go as far as saying strength, but I say an asset for this
Not,
team.
not a
I think,
weakness.
huh?
I said not a weakness.
Yeah, not a weakness. They could. I feel like they could become a capable offensive line. I wouldn't say championship caliber, but I don't think they would be a liability on a championship team. So I'm excited to see how this offensive line progresses. I have it at a C, but the things that I feel like they are struggling with are very correctable, and I'm interested to see how the second or the last 2/3 of the season play out, I guess you should say. That's something that I would keep an eye on, especially coming out of these the 2 weeks off. I want to get your thoughts on that. Honestly, we're going into a bye week. Do you think this is good for the team? Do you think they'll be able to settle themselves and come out looking like an even better team, or are you worried about what they'll look like with 2 weeks off going into Maryland, which is what arguably the fourth best team in the Big Ten right now?
No, I think the bye week is needed. I mean, I think there's been, especially offensively, a lot of inconsistency that needs to be a bit ironed out. So I think a bye week is needed. Another damn game has a lot of emotion. To come back win like that, you do fear if you are rolling into next week against a lower level team, if the energy and juice would be there. I feel like giving them a weekend off and then getting refocused for that Maryland game came at the right time. And like I said, this team needs to level up. They need to jump, to have a jump and be able to look at themselves in the first 4 weeks and say, okay, we've won all our games. This is where we need to get better. We need to get consistent. I think the offensive line still needs work, and not even just the tackles, just across the board. They still need work. The wide receivers, Marv, get healthy. Had the ankle injury at the end, so hope that won't be following him in 2 weeks. And then hopefully, get more consistency with the quarterback, and let's play ball a little better. I feel like it's been up and down the defense. I mean, besides the linebackers, I really like what I've seen. So maybe Tommy still go back, look at the film room, and be like, all right, just won't get blocked as much and make some tackles and show up. So yeah, I think the bye week is coming in at the right time.
So let's get to the last position group on offense. Not going to have time to get to defense today, but I want to jump in to the wide receivers. You jumped the gun a little bit on that one. So, so go ahead and give us your grade for wide receivers before we get out of here.
Yeah, Chris Drew had got me for that in the comments. I give them a B-, man. I'll put some onus on Heartline. I still would like to see a little more of a rotation. I still like to see them use the fastest player on the team, apparently, and Jaden Ballard, who is truly being too fast to play here right now. He's truly, he had one punt. He looked good. And they're like, nah, you're good. Just go back and ice the bench. Julian Fleming, again, would like to see him just use well more schemed up. He's not getting open, just going out there running routes. Maybe it's time for Cardinal to step into that role and then find ways to use Julian in the blocking game. And I think he's good when he gets the ball in his hands. He's fast, he's physical. So we'd like to see that. But a little more to be desired out the wide receiver room. I had the biggest challenge against Notre Dame, and Marv didn't do too much, but Emeka did. So they've done enough to get the wins. But it's supposed to be the best wide receiver room in the nation. That's his own six reputation. So they got to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I give them a B. So far this year, we've seen them beat up on some of the scrub teams, but you'd like to see them get a little bit more separation. They did it when it mattered against Notre Dame, which is something that I feel like we would have. I mean, that you'd like to see a little bit earlier in the game, them be able to get the separation. I feel like Marv and Emeka have left things to be desired as far as their effort blocking, and then Julian Fleming out there is looking like, why didn't we recruit him to play left tackle? Like, bro's out there just mauling people. I think if they had, made him a project and put an extra 90 pounds on him, bro, we might be talking about a Hall of Fame left tackle with the way Julian Fleming's blocking out there. But I think he's leaving a little bit to be desired as far as separation out there. I've asked Chris Drew this, I've asked Cam this, I've asked you this. I just feels like we're missing a third receiver that, like, okay, go ahead, blanket Marv, blanket Emeka. Good luck stopping this third guy. And it's like, I mean, I'm guessing you're gonna stop our third guy. When it's Julian out there, I don't like. The thing is, if like Marv is completely taken out of the game, schemed out of the game, if Emeka is not having a great game, I just don't think Julian's the receiver that's going to pop up and have a 120-yard game with 6 catches. And that's just weird to me. And I don't know who that guy is. I feel like we don't have that third shifty guy really to step in and be that person. I don't even know if Carnell is that guy. It's so much to answer. We talked about it yesterday, thinking that this offense would look more like Dwayne Haskins offense in 18, but we don't really have those Paris Campbell's, KJ Hill types right now. Someone that's just going to get loose over the middle, run these slants and meshes and things like that. And I'm just interested to see, do we have a third receiver during the second half of the year that will assert themselves as someone that's going to be a wide receiver that the other team has to scheme for and can't just lock up, the two junior wide receivers.
I mean, it's interesting. Apparently, we have Marvin Harrison III on the team. That's what they told us. So, where's that guy? I'd like to see him in there running routes. And I think Cardell Tate's been pretty solid. We've seen him play at a drop in the first game, but outside of that, he's been pretty solid. Also, too, you got James Ballard over there, man. Just keep him up. He runs probably like a 4.3 at least. Just keep him up. Do something with him. Run a slant.
Maybe, or return kicks or
run a screen. Do something. You don't always have, and I see Ohio State do this and other teams don't. You don't always have pro receivers that are good across the board. I mean, that's very hard to have guys. We had probably a super generational room when we had JMO and JSN in the room because you're just not going to get that. You're lucky to have two. We have two guys that are pros. Everybody else has high attributes that you can use in effective ways. You just got to do it. So I don't know what they're expecting, but you're not going to get another Marv or Mecca on this team. You got to take what the guys.
Allegedly, we already do have another Marv.
Yeah,
interested
Marv
to see
the
if he'll
third
play this year.
With Marv the third, apparently, but you got to use what guys do best effectively. So I think that's what the room is missing the most. It's not really talent; it's just showing those attributes well and having other guys look good in things they do well.
Absolutely. It is 9:00, so your boy has to get to work. Q, let the people know where they could find you. I appreciate you pulling up today, everyone in the chat. Super fun show. We weren't able to get to the defense, but we have plenty of time before the Buckeyes play football again. So I promise you we will get to defensive report cards at some time in the next 2 weeks before the Buckeyes play football again. Q, let the people know where they could find you.
And don't forget, we're going to dedicate a whole show to special teams grades. But if you want to find me, Cityboy Quentin on Twitter, Find Johnson on Instagram, Minor League Films everywhere else. Ron.
If you want to find me, you can find me at 2Ts. That's 2_TEES on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch. It's the same thing. On TikTok at 2Shiesty. Tonight, the Fans Edge will be live at 7:30, our National College Football show. So if you're not subscribed, we are 24 subscribers away from 5,000. So if you are not, make sure that you subscribe to the episode. Smash that like button. Me and Chris Drew will be on Bleacher Report tomorrow. So if you don't have the Bleacher Report app downloaded, make sure you download that and tap in and make sure you pull up for those. The college football pregame show on Saturday. And of course, the flagship Buckeye BS on Sunday at 10 a.m. Dogs Film Room will be dropping this week. So again, if you are not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, hit that little bell to make sure that you get a notification anytime we drop some content. And also shout out to everyone that's been tuning in on Twitter. We've been simulcasting all our episodes on Twitter. So if you miss us, you're not on the YouTube, you see us on the timeline, make sure you pop that video open and give it a watch. Tell a friend, retweet it, do your best Dorian impression, and tell a friend on the timeline that we are live 7 days a week on this channel. We appreciate you tuning in to the Buckeye Roast, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Oh, wait.